How to vlog. Are you an aspiring vlogger, or are you already a vlogger and looking for more inspiration? In this video, I am going to share with you my creative ideas on how I like to vlog, but that's not all. We have with us none other than...
What's good, guys? My name is Oleg Nikitin. I'm a YouTuber. I have a channel about tech, gear. I review lenses, cameras, and today I'll share my tips on the technical side of how to vlog.
So I'll be giving you my creative advice. He'll be giving you his technical advice. Welcome to EXPAT American. I am the EXPAT American. Find out how to vlog and where we're standing right now.
Да, можешь какие-то подснять кадрики. Вот там с той стороны тоже сними.
Are you rolling?
B-roll shots.
We might have a few seconds to do something.
It's fun, junior vlogger.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get a good shot of the Kremlin and we'll put you in the video.
Поехали!
I have 5 subjects I want to tackle. The first one is location. In real estate, they say location, location, location. And here is our location. Beautiful St. Basil's behind us. This is arguably the most famous church image in the world. We are standing in Moscow, Russia. I've watched lots of vlogs where people are at their computer in their studio. And that's fine, I'm not saying that's bad. But I think there are many videos I've seen where I've thought, man, why didn't they go somewhere to do that? Like if I was going to do a 10-minute video on, let's say, something government related, instead of sitting in my office, I might run down the street to the post office and take a couple different angles of me talking about that subject. For me, I think that it is very crucial that you find a location that is connected to your video topic. What do you think?
So since we're talking about our first tip being a location, in my opinion, if you are in an interesting location, you need to have enough B-roll. What B-roll is basically different shots with different angles of the place you're in. So for example, if we're standing right here, we can take a super wide shot to show the landscape. Then we can take a close-up for the, you know, the beautiful St. Basil's, the clocks on the tower, etc., etc. And people are okay with looking at your beautiful face because I'm not as handsome as Joe.
Right.
But if you are just staring at his face for like 2 minutes straight, it's not as entertaining and as interesting. So in my opinion, if you add B-roll on top of your A-roll, the part that you're talking basically with your face in the shots, it's becoming much more engaging. And that is why I do recommend filming at least 3 B-roll shots at each location. So basically first you get a wide shot, then the middle shot or a close-up and the extreme close-up. So you have your different lenses on your smartphone, the 0.5x, 1x and 5x or 3x or whatever you have. Just use all of those and try to find some interesting angles as well.
Very good. I'm glad you said that because I'm not a tech guy, and I only recently learned the function of where you can lay a video on top of another video. So like, let's say if I'm talking about something, and as I'm talking, it switches to another video, but you still hear me talking, like another location perhaps. I'm talking about a thing. It makes the video more exciting. It also helps the video not get too long because I can narrate and you can see other things.
And there is one more pretty cool thing about the B-roll is that you can cut your A-roll if you make a mistake. In some point, you simply, you know, put it behind the B-roll and you make a cut and it's seamless.
Very, very good. Okay, we can cut. That's good. All right, Oleg, so the second subject that I want to talk about is thumbnails. And I think this is really important because a lot of times people get excited, they go and film, they get home, they start editing, and they haven't thought ahead of time about what the thumbnail is going to be, and they didn't take photos when they're on location for their thumbnail. And in my experience as a creative person, what I've noticed and what seems to work well for me is a thumbnail is giant titles, as few words as possible, and a giant face, and then the subject picture, whatever that might be. I think that people really like to look at faces, you know, like a face with emotion, let's say, not a high school picture face where you look perfect, but something that shows some sort of shock or happiness or sadness, and then giant words because in my experience in real estate, let's say a yard sign, you're driving by and you only see it for a flash, and the words have to be big. It has to really grab you. And a thumbnail, I make the mistake of making it a piece of art. It is a piece of art, But more than that, it's got to be designed to grab the viewer, because they're just scrolling through and it's going by so fast. It's got to be giant. It's got to really catch them. What do you think?
So in my opinion, you've learned your lesson from Mr. Beast.
I've never watched him. So that's what he says?
Yes, emotional
Good.
face on the thumbnail.
So I'm on the right track.
For the thumbnail and for the shots inside of the video, it's important to grab an interesting shot. What I mean by an interesting shot is when you use different perspective. For example, when you try to shoot from a low angle or from a high angle, or just, you know, tilt the horizon a little bit. So it adds a little bit of tension to the shots. It makes it more interesting to watch. And also, when you think about the thumbnail, you should think about the composition as well. So there are rules of composition in videography, of course, like leading lines that lead. For example, if our operator will stand somewhere here, just grabs the attention and simply drags it towards us, because it makes kind of two lines that are almost crossing in between us. So this makes a shot more interesting and visually attracts more attention of the viewer. So when you are on location, also think about the composition. Also, you can use the rule of thirds when you imagine like lines, like this one. You saw this one, the grid. So when you place the object on the cross of those lines, it makes the visually pleasing image. And that is why it's very important to think of the composition and of interesting shots, because if you use only like the straight up like this shots, no wide shots, no close-up shots, just a simple middle shot all the time, it's becoming boring.
Another thing you can do while filming is cut to different locations. This can make your video more exciting and grab the audience's attention. The next thing I wanted to talk about was titles, which I sort of covered a little bit in the thumbnail. But what I wanted to say is I've learned, I think, that the title needs to be kind of carnal. It kind of needs to get to the point. It needs to feel like the most important thing. Like I did a video when my channel was younger that was quite popular called "Is Russia Scary?" So it kind of gets right to the heart of something that people would be very interested in. Now the video was me walking through a neighborhood in Russia at night that was like average income. If my title was walking through blank neighborhood in Russia, which is what the video actually is about, people wouldn't click on that. So I had to think, you know, what would be a title that would grab people that they'd want to see? And again, I think the title should be relatively short for the thumbnail. The title that you type under the thumbnail for your platform, that's more for the algorithm, to tell the algorithm where to share the video.
50 characters is like the sweet spot for the title.
You mean the one that you type underneath?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Why 50 characters?
Because it's visible in almost all the platforms, including the cell phones. You can read the first 50 characters and then it goes triple dot.
Yes. Okay.
So to read it in like the supposed to be way, not to cut off a part of the title, it's like 50 characters.
Okay, that makes sense, because when I'm typing the title, I always do 100 characters. I want to use all the space, but I've noticed that it cuts it off. So I'm always structuring the title so that the most important words are coming first. So I guess it's okay to do more than 50, but you should know that only the first 50 are going to be seen by probably 90% of the people that are scrolling by.
That's true. That's true. So make sure your titles and thumbnails are as precise as possible, as attention grabbing as possible. But also what is very important is the settings that you use. I know a lot of people who use simply 1080p HD on their phones, but guys, we now live in the 4K era. And I highly recommend... Are we filming in 4K? You don't even know. Okay.
Probably not,
Probably
actually.
not.
Well, we'll be shooting the rest of this video in 4K.
Hopefully we did.
Another video I did once is called "Are Russians Crazy?" That video was about a holiday they have where they jump in the river in winter and simulate baptism. Now, I could have called it Epiphany Bathing, which is what it is. But what's the point of the video? The point of the video is, what you want to know is, are Russians crazy? So I just called it that instead. Number 4 is filming. This is a big one. This is the one I could give you the most advice on. I need to be careful this video isn't 3 hours long. When I started, had a selfie stick. So the iPhone that the cameraman is holding right now was just on a selfie stick. And I would go to my location, and this is what I learned, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is I would always film, and I still do it to this day, first a shot on my face, and then a shot of the subject without my face, and then back on my face, and then back off my face. Now, I'm constantly alternating, because if I don't do that, if I'm always on my face, it's kind of hard to watch, where it's like it's like clicking around at different angles on the person's face. And then the other problem is it's never on the vlogger's face, and people like to look at faces. They want to know who's talking to them, who's showing them something. So that is my biggest tip for filming. What do you think?
Totally makes sense. The thing that you said, that your face is like all over the place, like from shot to shot, it's called a jump cut. So when you have an object similarly placed and the size is exactly the same almost, but it jumps on the shot from shot to shot, when you make a cut, it's called a jump cut. Occasionally it's used intentionally, but most of the time it's like a mistake, because it's irritating to watch. So what you said is definitely making sense. So my next advice is, since we're on the bridge and this place is windy as hell and my face is freezing, so basically I need to tell it as fast as possible. But the audio is very important, and the thing we're wearing right now is the furry wind muff. This one and this one, it protects the microphone from the wind, because if we didn't have one, it would be completely ruined in terms of audio. And also we're using the wireless microphone system, which is really handy, because our cameraman can just, be like 10 meters away, as we showed you before in the previous locations. And by the way, we did shoot everything in full HD, not 4K, but right now we're filming in 4K, so don't make our mistake shooting 4K. But the audio is much more important than video, because if you have bad audio, it's not even viewable. But if you do have great audio and so image quality, it would be much more viewable. So this is one of the biggest tips. Just use an external microphone. There is a ton of options. I have a dozen of reviews of different mics on my channel, so you can pick whatever you want in different price ranges, different functionalities. You can have dual mics like we do right now, so it's always up to you. But please, guys, use a good mic. Don't use your mics like the built-in microphone of the iPhone, because when it's windy, it's shit. Basically, just censor this part out.
No, he's absolutely right. In fact, these little fuzzy microphones that we're wearing, this was another recommendation of his. And when we were coming here, he texted me, make sure and bring the sock, this little fuzzy thing that blocks the wind. What?
It's called a dead cat.
Dead cat?
Yes,
a dead cat. Very good. And I told him, I don't have that. He's like, yes, you do. And I checked the bag, and sure enough, I did. Now, you might be asking, well, you have a cameraman. I'm a young vlogger. I don't have a cameraman. Ask your friends. I'm not paying this guy. I don't pay anyone, because there's not a whole lot of money in vlogging. He is another vlogger, and I'll introduce you to him at the end of this video. And sometimes I'm the cameraman for him. So just find people that have similar interests to you and help each other out.
And one more thing about the wireless microphones is that you can use it on a tripod, I mean the iPhone on the tripod, and you can move it a few steps back and still be able to retain good audio quality, even if you don't have a cameraman.
Right, that's a good point, because the selfie stick that I will use sometimes when I don't have a cameraman also turns into a tripod if I want. We have been at one park the whole time, but as you notice, if you think about what we've been showing you, we're constantly changing our location. So you think of your subject, you think of your location, and then you want to be moving around your location. So I filmed a video here once in this park when my channel was younger, something like why I moved to Russia. And I kept moving around this park. And that's what we've been doing in this video, because we want an interesting location. And the title of the video that you saw is Interesting Location. So this was our interesting location. One thing I forgot to say about filming is I will make mistakes. Like, let's say I'm talking to him, I'm saying, man, you're really cool, and I think, is there a booger on my nose? Oh no, there's not. And then I get back to saying how cool you are. You can cut that out by zooming in. So you cut, and then you cut out your piece, but so there's not like a jump cut.
Yeah.
You zoom in for the next shot.
Digitally, in the post-processing.
In the editing. I'll talk about that for editing. And people won't even know. As long as you jump in, they won't even notice.
If you use 4K.
If you use 4K?
Yeah, if you use 4K, you do like, I don't know, 150% scale, and it's still good.
I never use 4K, and I do it all the time.
You should be.
I will, because he's changed my settings. The last point I wanted to cover is editing. I edit on my phone and I edit on my computer. It depends on the video. Sometimes I'm in a hurry, the video is small, and I use InShot on my phone. Why do I use InShot? Because someone said use InShot. I'm not saying InShot's the best. I like it. What do you think?
It's okay. CapCut is also a good one.
CapCut is also good. For my computer, I use Movavi. And that's also just one that someone recommended to me. What do you think of Movavi?
Never used one. I use Final Cut because I use Mac. So it's whatever fits your workflow, it's okay, because more or less all the NLEs, non-linear editing programs, are more or less the same. You simply cut, you just move the pieces, change places, color grade it a little bit, so whatever.
And along with editing, they also need to make the thumbnail, and I use InShot for my thumbnails as well. What about you?
I just use Final Cut. I
Final
just
Cut
grab
for
a
thumbnails
still,
also?
yeah, and that's
right.
it. Whatever works for you.
So you get home and you're editing, and hopefully you have lots of shots of yourself talking to the camera and lots of shots of you talking off camera while you're showing something. And you have some shots which are just no talking, just like a pan of something like this forest
B-roll.
or the church. They call it B-roll, or you could say inserts. I think that people think they want information, but what they really want in their heart is to be entertained. So with my videos, I try to give a mix of entertainment and information. So I'm not trying to be funny, but if funny happens, I let it happen. And so my goal for each video is to be interesting, to have information, to be a bit of an adventure, to be on the move. You've noticed in some of the shots we're walking, and sometimes I'm walking faster than I need to, just to make the video feel exciting. And I'm going to edit that all together, and I'm trying to tell the story where I'm giving some information and then some entertainment, and some information and then some entertainment. The funny stuff I've learned, it's better to push towards the end of the video. The fast-paced stuff I've learned, it's better to have towards the front of the video. What do you think?
Exactly.
And I think that people that know your channel, that already know you, they're good with the humor, but it's the people that don't know you, the new viewers, that don't want to see you being funny right away, because they're like, who is this idiot? You know, of all the shots we filmed here today, it was the opening shot that we did the most, that we did a few times. Why? Because that opening shot's really got to grab the viewer. If the opening shot's not good, then they're just not going to watch the video. All right, so now it's your turn to leave a comment and let us know what you think of this video. We're going to say goodbye to you now, but first remind you of our channels. And guys, do you want to take your hats off or no? Now, I almost never wear a hat because I think it's important for people to know who you are and get used to recognizing your face. So that's my final recommendation, which was on my list, is to try to make sure people recognize you and use your personality in your video. So anyway, here's the cameraman. Tell him who you are.
All right, my name is Svai. I do have a YouTube channel where I usually walk and show different cities. For example, I'm in Moscow now, so I show Moscow, I walk around. Subscribe.
Feel the walk. And remind us who you are.
Yeah, once again, guys, I'm Oleg Nikitin, and my channel is No Limits On, about tech gear, tech reviews. And guys, wear a hat, protect your ears.
And I'm the Expat American. You're already on my channel. If this is your first time watching, I'm an American who, believe it or not, lives in Russia, and I'm making entertaining, exciting, sometimes funny, like I said, videos in English for the West to let them know what Russia's really like. Thanks for watching.
Take care, guys.
And one more thing, guys, if you have room for it in your video, because you don't want your video to be too long, it's always good to end at a restaurant, because people like to see you eating. Remember I said the funny stuff should be last?
I'm crying, bro.
I gotta redo my hair, it's a mess. Find out how to vlog where... All right, so we have come out on a... No, I don't want to forget it, it's not important.
Fluent experience. Fluent?
Fluid experience.
Yeah.
You got St. Basil's? All right, does he look handsome? No glue in his face?
As always.
I don't know what to say. Anyway, I'll cut it.
It is the most important.
Christmas tree, Kremlin.